Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem Rakakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of the great millstone who have taught me this truth. And shalom also to the Akim pushing this word in sincerity and in truth, and to the speckled bird across the four corners of the world, and to the few sisters who are listening to you. I say shalom. Lord willing, this will be an edifying lesson. And basically the whole inspiration behind this lesson is that I was going over some of my old notes when I first got into the truth, and basically some of those notes I was kind of wooed off those notes, because now that I've read more and I have a more understanding thanks to Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai, I just wanted to go into the scriptures that I wrote down in my old notes. So this is Job 12 and 16. And it says, Job 12 and 16, with him is strength and wisdom. The deceived and the deceiver are his. And that's right. This is one of the scriptures that I wrote down. And, basically, the deceived and the deceiver are his, meaning that the Lord is the one that purposefully, with a purpose, deceives or puts the spirit on people to not know the truth. He's the one that puts the spirit on people and closes their eyes to this truth. He's the one that ultimately could open your eyes to this truth. It goes well, actually, it's not that deep when you go throughout the scriptures, because it's all throughout the scriptures, and I'm gonna cover that with this lesson. It's not some sort of philosophical question or some deep ass a deep ass conversation. It really isn't. It's simple. The Lord is the one the Lord is the one that has everybody in their pocket, whether they know the truth or whether they're deceived. The deceiver and the deceived are his. So the next scripture I want to get is to prove that is 2 Kings. Not 2 Kings. Yeah, 2 Kings 21. 2 Kings 22, and I'm gonna start at hold on. Slovakia. It's 1 Kings. Slovakia. Let me see. 1 Kings 22, and I'm gonna start at 19, and it says 1 Kings 22 and 19, and it says, and he said, hear thou therefore the word of the Lord. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne, and all the host of heaven standing by him on his right hand and on his left. Right, so this is basically he saw a vision, and it's the Lord, and he saw the angels on the left hand side and on the right hand side. Verse 20, and the Lord said, who shall persuade Ahab that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one said on this manner, and another said on that manner. And there came forth a spirit and stood before the Lord and said, I will persuade him. So basically the Lord asked the host of heaven, his army, because when you go into that word for host, it's talking about armies. Let me prove that as well. The word for host is
Strong's H 6635. Sava.
Tazaba'ah, which means army, host, or a host of angels, right? So he basically asked the heavenly host that who was gonna persuade Ahab so that he could go basically go get killed at Ramoth Gilead, right? And basically they were all conversating about it amongst themselves, saying this and that, blah blah this, we could do this, we could do that. And there came forth the spirit and said, I will persuade him. Verse 22, and the Lord said unto him, wherewith? And he said, I will go forth, and I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And he said, thou shalt persuade him and prevail also. Go forth and do so. So basically the Lord said, how are you going to do it? And the spirit was all like, I will basically be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And the Lord allowed it. The Lord said you should, basically the Lord allowed it, right? And then verse 23 says, now therefore, behold, the Lord has put a lying spirit in the mouth of all thy prophets, and the Lord has spoken evil concerning thee. And that's right. That goes back to that Job 12 and 16, how the deceiver and the deceived are his. It's ultimately the Lord that controls all these things. And notice how instead of saying that it was the lying spirit that did this, in the verse 23 it says, behold, the Lord has put the lying spirit, so it's the Lord that took the credit. It's the Lord that ultimately takes the credit in all of this, because it's by his strength and his wisdom that these things are able to be done. The deceiver and the deceived are his, and they're truly, he's truly the most high. He's omnipotent, right? He has all the power. Let me get another scripture. This is Proverbs 21. Let me see. Proverbs, I'm gonna start at verse 1, and it says, Proverbs 21 and 1, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, as the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. And that's right. The Lord is ultimately the one that controls you, man. He's the one that puts the spirit on you to do things. He sends spirits, basically he puts spirits on you, and that could be any spirit, right? He could put the spirit on you to endure. He could put the spirit on you to be weak. He could put the spirit on you to be disciplined. He could put the spirit on you to be lazy, man. That's why you truly got to fear the Lord, because the Lord is ultimately the father of all spirits. He's the one that controls all of this. He's the one that seals your instruction in the night for you to do what you're going to do in the next day. He turns your heart whithersoever he will. The Lord does whatever he wants. He already, everything is already determined. Or should I say, there's no free will, right? Because ultimately it's the Lord that opens your eyes to the truth and could close your eyes to the truth, right? And that's in the scriptures as well. Let me get let me see. Let me get let me prove that as well, about how the Lord can open your eyes to the truth and basically either open your eyes to the truth or give you over to a reprobate mind. This is Romans 1. I'm gonna start at verse 28, and it says, Romans 1 and 28, and even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient. Basically, the Lord is the one that gives you over to a reprobate mind. He's the one that gives you over to the things that you do every single day. So it's either you're with the Lord or you're not. If the Lord sees that it's in your spirit, and he weighs your spirit, and he sees that you truly don't love him, you're truly not about this, he will give you over to a reprobate mind. You'll start doing, you'll go back into the world, and then 7 more demons will hop on you. You'll be more bugged out you'll be more bugged out than from the time that when you didn't know the truth. The Lord, man, that's why the scriptures also talk about how it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power. Let me get that as well. This is Hebrews 10. Let me see. Hebrews 10 and 31, it says, it is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. And it truly is, because it's the Lord that does all these things, man. It's even the scriptures talk about how there's no wisdom, counsel, or nothing against the Lord. Let me get that. Proverbs 21 and 30. This is Proverbs 21 and 30. It says, there's no wisdom, nor understanding, nor counsel against the Lord. And why is that? Because the Lord is the one that has all the wisdom. He has all the understanding. He is the one that has all the counsel. He's the one that does all these things. So how can you in your little earthen vessel try to plot against the Lord, or try to come up against the Lord, or try to do anything against the Lord, when in actuality is the Lord that put the spirit on you and hardened your heart to do that thing, to come up against them so that you could get fucked up? That's exactly what happened to Pharaoh, and that's what's gonna happen to Esau, Edom. We truly don't have any free will, man. And that's even and that goes down to to even to know this truth, because the Lord, all wisdom belongs to the Lord. That's in let me get that. This is Sirach 1:1, and it says, all wisdom cometh from the Lord and is with him forever. So all wisdom comes from the Lord, man. The scriptures talk about how he makes evil and creates peace. He creates, let me get that as well. Isaiah 45:7, it says, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. So it's ultimately the Lord that does all these things. He has all the power. All the power. All wisdom belongs unto the Lord, and all wisdom comes from him. Whether it be left-handed or right-handed, man. The Lord, all these things stem from the Lord, and he uses them and purposes them. He purposes these things so that ultimately his will could be done, because it's ultimately up to his will. There's nothing that we have or can do to ultimately stray off that path. That's why the scriptures talk about who has resisted his will. Let me get Romans 13:1, and it says, Romans 13:1, let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of God. The powers that are ordained of God. Hold on, there's too many people messaging me right now. Every time that I'm not making a video, nobody messages me, right? But as soon as I decide to make a lesson, now everybody has the audacity to message me, huh? Man. Romans 13:1. Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of God. The powers that be are ordained of God, right? And Apostle Gabar basically broke this down, how this was talking about the Roman Empire at the time, because during that time the Roman Empire was actually the one that was in power, right? So this chapter is explaining how the powers that be are actually ordained of the Most High. He's the one that sets up the basis of men and sets them on high and gives them a kingdom, and that's in the book of Daniel. I'm not gonna get it. You should go and actually read for for once, right? But basically, all the powers that be ordained are the Most High. He's the one that controls all these things. He's the one that sets up kings. He's the one that takes them down. He's the one that does all these things. There's no counsel, wisdom, or understanding against the Lord, because he's the one that ultimately sets everything up. If he wasn't there's no point of calling him the Most High if there was a flaw some way, somehow, in his word or in the way that he does things, because ultimately everything that is being done in this world is because of the Most High. There's a reason why he's called the Most High, because he's the Most High. He's above everything that you could imagine, bro. He's all powerful. He's omnipotent, and that's in the scriptures as well. Now I'm gonna prove how it's only the Lord that could wake you up to this truth. It's not how Christianity says it, that one day you wake up and then you decide to be a Christian, or you choose to be a Christian. Nah, man. It's ultimately the Lord that wakes you up to this. This is John 6:44. It says, no man can come to me. And this is Yahushua speaking, by the way, the Messiah. And it says, John 6:44. No man can come to me except the Father which has sent me draw him, and I will raise him up at the last day. So no man can come to the Son unless it was given to him by the Father, unless it was the Father that woke him up to it, right? And that's in John 6:65 as well. It says, John 6:65, and he said, therefore said I unto you, that no man can come unto me except it were given unto him of my Father. So it's ultimately up to the Father. It's up to the Father whether he wants you to wake up to this truth or not, because he could blind you to this truth as well, and that's in the scriptures. For a long time, our people were blinded, man. We were absolutely shut to this truth. This is Isaiah 29:10, and it says, For the Lord has poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep and has closed your eyes. The prophets and your rulers, the seers, has he covered. Right? And that's right. That the Lord is ultimately the one that put the deep sleep on you. He's the one that does all these things. Again, like we said, the deceiver and the deceived are his. Everything that the Lord does has a purpose. Everything is up to him. you know even when it comes down to the elect, because the scriptures talk about how the elect have obtained with that which they seek for. This is Romans 11:7. What then? Israel has not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election has obtained it, and the rest were blinded. you know and that's right. Let me keep reading. According as it is written, God has given them the spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear unto this day. So it's ultimately, the Lord is the one that closes your eyes and opens your truth to this thing. The elect already obtained what they were seeking for their whole lives, which is this truth, the fear of the Lord, knowing this this living water, you know, this actual word, understanding this word, right? Finally knowing who we actually are, waking up to who we actually are, knowing our true heritage and where we come from. Everything, right? It's the Lord that gave all these things, right? That's why the scriptures also talk about how, the Lord is the one that gives the increase. We might plant the seed, but it's the Lord that gives the increase, you know? Man, if somebody calls me right now, I'm gonna get a couple more scriptures and I'm gonna close out, you know? But even Yahushua says this in the gospel, when what's his name? Pontius Pilate says that, don't you know that I could just kill you right now? And what does he answer? This is John 19:10. It says, Then saith Pilate unto him, Speakest thou not unto me? Knowest thou not that I have power to crucify thee and have power to release thee? Verse 11, and this is what Yahushua answered him. Yahushua answered, Thou couldst have no power at all against me, except it were given thee from above. Therefore has he that delivereth me unto thee has the greater sin. And that's going into what's his name, Judas. How Judas, Judas is ultimately the one that delivered Yahushua. He's the one that betrayed him, so he's the one that has the greater sin. But ultimately, the reason why Pontius Pilate even had that power is because the Lord gave him that power. The Lord is ultimately the one that gave that unto him. And actually, Judas fulfilled scripture by Judas fulfilled scripture by actually doing what he was supposed to. He fulfilled scripture. He was meant to be who he actually was. That's in the scriptures. It's in the Psalms how he was gonna do that. So everything is up to the Lord, man. It's ultimately up to the Lord. So with that, I'm gonna end it off. So with that, I'm gonna say Shalom. Call Lion Yahweh Bashem Yahshai Bashem Kakadash. The Wadi Yahweh Bashem Yahshai for giving me the spirit to make this lesson. Wa Abad Babal Shalom.